Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. I am Chad Lyons, and I'm joined by my wife, Megan, and we run Epoet Digital Services.
The next thing we want to go over is why content is king. The content that you create will inform and contribute to the success of all of your other online marketing efforts. It's your main hook. It's how you reach your audience, how you engage with them, and consistently releasing high quality content will develop loyalty for you and your organization.
Now, your potential patients aren't just going to go from never hearing about you to suddenly wanting to engage with you and schedule an appointment. They're going to go through a process. It's important to understand this process. Each stage of the process is different, and the tactics that you'll use to reach your audience at the various stages will differ as well. And if you're providing bigger ticket services and long sale processes, then you'll need a vast variety of content for each stage. So it really just depends. But again, this is meant to give you a basic overview, and then you can tailor it to fit you specifically.
The first stage is awareness. This is not necessarily awareness about you or your business. It's the patient's awareness of their problem. They're tired of wearing glasses, their nose are too big, whatever it may be. Your job is to be findable so that you can be the one to solve those problems. There's several different types of content that you could use to reach people at this point. The first one is with articles. The format of these posts should follow the simple outline. First, identify with the patient by validating and empathizing with their problem. Talk about a time when you or another patient had a struggle against a similar problem. Next, explain how you or your patient went about solving that problem. Then, wrap it up with what life looked like after the problem was solved. This is the kind of before and after type of thing that your patients would be looking for.
For example, if I were trying to get patients in to correct a deviated septum, I might write something with an outline like, "We all know sleep is vital to your health, but John just wasn't getting enough of it. For a while, he thought maybe it was just the weight he'd put on as he got older, or maybe it was a persistent cold. But night after night, John was waking up, his nasal airways feeling tight and clogged. He'd roll over onto his side or take a short walk around the house to try and clear it before heading back to bed. Finally, John talked to his doctor and learned that he had a deviated septum. After a short outpatient procedure, John found that he was able to sleep the night through. Not only that, but during the day, he had more energy than he'd had in years." Now, I'm not a copywriter, so pardon the writing on that, but the essential elements were there. The problem was stated and related with, we described how someone else dealt with the problem, and described how solving the problem had a positive impact in their life. Some other content you can use to reach people in the awareness stage might be social media, infographics, and videos. Usually short form are best, and interview-style testimonials are great.
The next stage is consideration. At this point, the patient knows that you exist, and now they're gathering the information that they need to make an actual purchase decision. And this is why your reputation needs to be high. If you have 3.7 stars and your competition has 4.8, then you're pretty much out of the running. 9 times out of 10, you've already lost the sale at that point. You don't necessarily have to beat your competitors' scores, but you should be keeping up to par with them, and preferably have a higher number of reviews. But I'm getting off track. When it comes to content for this stage in the buying process, you want to focus on providing 2 things. First, true value to the prospect. This can be downloadable content, tips, checklists, ebooks, whatever is appropriate for your organization that provides actual value to the prospect. You can even offer discounts and incentives at this stage, but that's kind of secondary. The other thing you want to provide are testimonials, reviews, case studies, and anything else that illustrates how your organization is superior to the competition. In the tech space, a lot of companies use comparison charts to put their feature set against those of their competitors. That's a very function-driven market, and so that strategy works. You need to experiment a bit and find out what works for you.
After the consideration stage is the conversion stage. By this time, the prospect has validated their problem, they've assessed their options, and they're ready to make a purchase decision. By this stage, your selling is mostly done, and now you're just sweetening the deal. This is where you really want to offer your discounts and promotions and reaffirm the benefits of choosing you.
The next stage is the follow-up. Once you've gotten the appointment scheduled, the most important thing you need to do is to deliver on the promise that your marketing made. That means delivering high quality service and an excellent patient experience. After the patient has scheduled their appointment, the procedure is done, and they're back to living their normal lives, you can follow up with them, usually by email. Some good content to give them might be in-depth articles that go more into detail of the other benefits that you offer. You can also provide examples and testimonials, as well as any other helpful resources. The most important thing here is that you don't want a wham bam thank you ma'am type of deal. The patient should know that you still care about them and that you still want to provide value, even after the procedure is completed and payment received. The business reason for this is to turn your patients into loyal customers.
Okay, the last stage is loyalty and advocacy. By now, the patient has recovered and are happy with the results. Now is the time to turn them into true fans. There are several ways to do this. You can ask for testimonials and reviews, to share their experience via social media, etc. One method that I personally favor is the interview review. This is a recorded interview that you have with the patient where they can talk about the benefits of your service and how their life is so much better post-procedure.
So let's talk about how to actually create content. There's a simple process for creating high quality content. First, you need to understand your business goals. Are you trying to drive awareness around your brand or service? Do you want your audience to consider you over your competitors? Do you want to educate or inspire? Are you just interested in getting patients into the office? I mean, yes, it all eventually leads to a revenue-generating opportunity, but it doesn't start there. The more specific your goals are, the easier it is to build content around that.
Once you've taken the time to map out your goals and how you want to approach the different stages of the buying cycle, the next step is to develop a content strategy. That is, what are you actually going to talk about? I'll give you a little hack for this part. What you really want to do is answer the questions and solve the problems that your patients have at each stage of the buying cycle. So how do you know what questions or problems they have? Google it. Think about the buying stage and Google the questions that your patients might be asking themselves at that point and see what kind of results you get. And when you're consulting with prospective patients, it's even easier. Just keep track of the questions that they ask you and create content that answers those questions. I know that we've mentioned that content is integral to your overall marketing strategy. We want to give a few quick examples of why that is. The first is search engine optimization. After researching what patients need, you can further tailor your content to match SEO-focused keywords to boost your on-site SEO. Additionally, as you create and share high-quality content, other people will share it as well, and you'll get high-quality links back to your site.
The link between social media marketing is even closer because you can essentially use social media as a distribution channel. As you share your valuable content on social media and your immediate network engages with it, you have the opportunity to extend your reach and draw new prospects to your website. If you're creating content and not sharing it on social media, then you need to start. Unless you have a market-specific reason not to, it's something I highly recommend you do.
The last thing we want to cover in regards to content is how you can repurpose your content, or to break up primary content into several other content types. The most popular content to do this with is webinars or other long-form video content and presentations, such as this. As you can probably tell, we have a script for this, which means it's written. That means that it can be turned into a blog post. I can extract the audio and use it in a podcast. We can break it into smaller bite-sized chunks and post 5-minute highlights on YouTube or other social media. Believe it or not, you can do 2 videos a month, or even just one long one, and derive the entire month's content from that. I recently had the opportunity of speaking with a lady who runs a nonprofit community theater. The biggest opportunity that I saw for her was in video. She had a YouTube channel, but it was pretty stale. It only had a few posts and they were from several years back. A webinar would probably not make much sense for her, but think of the potential of something like YouTube or Vimeo. She could post highlights of her productions, interviews with the actors and members of the production crews, etc. I recommended that she record each show in full. She could then offer that content to ticket holders in exchange for a generous donation. And for her customers that didn't show up, well, they missed out on the theater experience, But for a generous donation, of course, they could still watch their favorite local actors in the latest production via an exclusive video download. That content wasn't just a way to promote the main product, but could also become another product all on its own. Your content doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, as long as you're creating content regularly and that content is valuable, then you're off to a good start and you'll naturally improve as you go. If there's anything you'd like to learn more about, anything that you feel like maybe we didn't go deep enough or even overlooked, please reach out to us. And of course, if you feel like we can help you in your online marketing efforts, we would love to hear from you. You can reach us at hello@epoet.com or via the links below. Take care.